main purpose of the root chakra is the awakening practice. So it is this idea of rebirthing through death. If you have an imbalanced root chakra, most likely what this would look like is that you'll feel lazy, you'll feel anxious, you'll feel a lot of fear, insecurities, instability, maybe even depression. The way to overcome the barrier or overcome the blockage in your root chakra is to understand and understand that you don't really need anything at all. So, ways to balance this is you can go on long walks in the nature, walk barefooted. You can sit crisscross applesauce on the ground, on the grass, connect with the earth. Get some fresh air and sunlight. So just be patient with yourself, be understanding, relax, and the biggest thing, be aware. Welcome back to another episode of Here We Grow. We are growing for real and not for show. I am your girl, Kiki, your host. You already know. And this is my beautiful mommy. Please say hello. Thank you. Thank you. So today, guys, we are talking about the root chakra. Okay, so last week I gave you an overview of the 7 general chakras that everyone is familiar with. Today, we're going to talk about the root chakra. Okay, so I gave you some ideas of things that represent the root chakra. So we will go over those again. I got my handy dandy notebook here when I was deep into spirituality or learning more about energy centers in particular. And so I took a lot of notes while I was studying. And so the root chakra, okay, the color associated with the root chakra is red. Okay, I try to give y'all some little red right here. I got some little red. Oh, oopsie. I was dusting. Um, I wanted to wear a little red, some little red specks, but red is the color associated with the root chakra. Okay, so the element that is associated with the root chakra is earth. Okay, it is the root chakra is located in the base of the spine, and the reason why it's that is because this idea of not when you are imbalanced or your root chakra is blocked, you don't feel grounded, you don't feel connected to your physical body, which is why it's located at the spine. Um, so this word that goes with root chakra is muladhara, muladhara. Okay, and the root chakra is where your anxiety lies. Okay, so if you're familiar with the kundalini energy, I will be talking about that a lot more. It's very important when talking about the opening of the root chakras. When you're fully open, it's basically a representation of the kundalini energy entering through your root. So it comes through your root and then it spirals all the way up and it comes out through the crown chakra. And so when it is able to rise and fully go through and move throughout each energy center when it's open, then that is kind of what kundalini energy. I'm not really going to talk much about that right now, but if you want to look it up, look up kundalini energy on Google, on YouTube, you'll find it there. Okay, so back going back a few steps, the root chakra, base of the spine, associated with the color red, it's where anxiety lives. Okay, so if you have an imbalanced root chakra, most likely what this will look like is that you'll feel lazy, you'll feel anxious, you'll feel a lot of fear, insecurities, instability, maybe even depression. Okay, and some physical things that I looked up aside from just laziness, lower back pain, digestive issues, problems with your legs and feet. So everything connected mostly, down on the lower half of your body. Okay, so if you have issues, that could be a sign that your root chakra is blocked. Okay, A balanced root chakra would look like you feel secure, you feel stable, you feel you're not fearful, you don't feel lazy, you might be more energetic, or maybe like you move with grace, you're not depressed, right? And so with this particular um, root chakra, it really, the ego lives here, okay? So it's a very limited perspective. It's mostly focused on materialism and the physical reality, right? So remember, I said earlier that it's linked with the element earth, right? So it's really linked with everything physical. So when you feel like your resources, your financial resources are low, if you're worried about where your next check is coming, if you're worried about not having anywhere to stay, like literally physical things, this lies within the root chakra. Okay? And it gives you, when the root chakra is imbalanced, it sort of makes you feel, it gives you this limited view of reality, right? It keeps you on the fearful side, which we already know society has done a great job with programming us to make us feel like that we need things outside of ourselves to sustain our energy. And the way to overcome the barrier or overcome the blockage in your root chakra is to understand and understand that you don't really need anything at all. So, of course, you will do things to, you know, um, live life here and to participate in life. Everyone doesn't participate in life or live a successful life the same way, obviously. But obviously, there's things you need, like to sustain your physical body, which is food, water, etc. But when it comes to like materialism and assets and cars and just materialistic things in general, right? If you are concerned about having a lack of that, then your root chakra is most likely blocked, right? It reveals this connection to a lack mindset, or the operation, you are operating in a lack mindset. Okay, and so with this chakra, you have the flower, and it represents four petals. Okay, and it's red, so it's a square, and then it's a petal, 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 petal on all sides of the square. I will put a picture up here. Don't worry. And then in the middle of the square is an upside down triangle, inverted triangle, okay, which represents the element of earth, the seed of consciousness, okay? And then the square represents the solid foundation for the remain for the other chakras, right? So the root chakra is the foundation. If you cannot open and activate your root chakra, you most likely are imbalanced in all the other chakras, because it is literally the base, the foundation. Even the word root itself, think about a tree, right? The tree has roots. Trees that are big, that have been around for a long time, they have very strong, healthy, stable, secure roots, right? So think of yourself when you are balancing or working with your root chakra, that you are a tree and you're sustaining yourself and you're planting yourself, you're grounding yourself into the earth, into your body, right? And then the color red represents vitality and the color of the blood, okay? And then the four petals represents mind, ego, intellect, and consciousness, okay? All right. So here so when you have an imbalance, you feel lazy, very fearful, insecure, you might be even feel depression. If you're balanced, you feel security, stability, you feel not fearful, maybe a little energetic, not anxious, okay? You feel grounded. And so an overactive root chakra looks like a compulsive state of survival. All right. So this is an example. An example of this would be like someone who's always watching the news, right? They're always trying to see what's going on. If there's something happening in the world that we need to be more aware of, like just overprotective, right? Overly concerned with survival. If it comes down to health, if it comes down to money, they're every day they're watching the news. Every day they're consuming certain certain things that kind of keep you in a fearful mind state. This can even look like voting registration, or well, not registration, but voting, politics. You know, the presidential election is a good one as well. It's so much fear because when you hear about what people are trying to put in place, and you're thinking about how this is going to affect you and the world, that's an overactive root chakra. Okay. So I've never been the type of person to really care about the news. Like, of course, of course, when you're younger, you live with parents who most likely watch the news every day because they want to know what's going on all the time, right? But as you get older, you start to realize how the fear tactics that are used in news and in media in general, they are not helpful to maintaining a graceful and balanced aura and energy field. So now I know that when I need to know something, I trust that the universe and that source, which I am, and God will bring that information to me. I will become aware of it when it's meant for me, and that's been working for me for the most part. Um, so yeah, and that's how people usually get stuck. Okay, if they're always in a good, another example, hustling mindset, right? If you're always, I need to hustle, 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 I have to have multiple jobs to make this, that, and the third because my bills is this. Like, if you're always just in a chaotic survival mode, you're most likely stuck in this chakra. Okay? Now, there are ways to let me, before we get there, let me just add a little bit more information. So, well, I guess I could add that later. So, ways to balance this is you can go on long walks in the nature, walk barefooted. You can sit crisscross applesauce on the ground, on the grass, connect with the earth. Get some fresh air and sunlight, okay? Eat healthy foods, right? You can eat foods that are red, like peppers and apples, berries, right? Anything, pomegranates, things that are red that can kind of associate with that color red, which represents your root chakra, okay? You also can do yoga, right? Yoga that is specifically focused on the root chakra, okay? And so if you do that, there's this hand mudra that you use usually when you start off the yoga meditation and usually when you end it, or you can do it in between. It just depends on how you have created the sequence or whoever you're watching, okay? And so basically you put your pointer finger and your thumb together like this, and then your other three fingers are pointing. They're just stretched out free, and then your palms are facing upward, okay? So if you are meditating per se, you will sit crisscross applesauce and you will put your hands on your knees. You can start like this. I always start like this. And the intention is to receive positive energy, to receive peace, receive love and grace. And then you just put your pointer finger and your thumb together like that, and you just close your eyes and meditate. You can open your eyes and meditate. You can visualize you being in something red, or visualizing the color red while you meditate. Or if you do this before yoga, you can do that. So there are so if you were meditating and you did this, you can use this hand mudra, right? You can visualize in your mind that you're visualizing the color red. You can even visualize the color red with the location. So we know that this root chakra is associated with the base of the spine. And so you can visualize yourself in the base of your spine and red around it, right? And you just see that area being red with your hand mudras, and you can close your eyes, open your eyes, whatever the best way it is for you to meditate and to visualize. So The term that you use with this meditation is lam, LAM, and I'm gonna check that because I do not want to tell you anything wrong. Okay, because it's important for me to make sure that I am telling you the right things. But yes, it is lam. Okay. And so what you would do, make sure, so I'm sitting down, so my forearms are folded. My arms are folded, but when you are meditating, you want to have your arms stretched out on your legs. Okay, just that was a clarification. But it is lam, and so how you would say it is lam. Okay, so you can find these type of meditations, root chakra meditations, on YouTube. You can do it by yourself without the guided meditation part. You can just constantly repeat lam with your hand mudra, crisscross applesauce, hands facing toward, palms facing towards the sky. Okay, hands on your knees, and you are visualizing your spine, and that is red. Okay, and this is kind of the way to work it and opening. Now, things don't happen overnight. For some people it can, right? It just depends on who you are and how quickly your energy moves, right? So yes. So you, that's a way that you can also balance and open this chakra. Okay, so this chakra, I mean, don't go so hard. Just don't have so many expectations. And that's something that I can say that I had to work on within myself, because when you are working with your energy and you're opening and you're trying to grow, sometimes you want to see results very quickly. You want to be instantly gratified. You want to see the changes. It doesn't always work like that. So just be patient with yourself. Have grace with yourself, especially if this is your first time doing these type of things. Like just do it. Even if it's 5 or 10 minutes of meditation, if it's 10 minutes of yoga, if it's 10 minutes of walking outside, right? Like, don't push yourself too hard. Just start beginning the process, and for whatever that looks like. Okay. So the main purpose of the root chakra is the awakening practice. So it is this idea of rebirthing through death. So the death of the ego, right? The dissolvement of the ego is key here. So when you're able to disassociate or detach from the ego, you're able to rebirth yourself spiritually and psychologically, right? You can do a lot of affirmations, right? The affirmations, I am is kind of what you can use, not kind of, what you can use when doing mantras. If you are a mantra affirmation person, you can say, I am secure, I am stable, I am protected, I am grounded, things of that nature, to also bring in that new energy and feel what it feels like to feel safe. Like, right, if you are someone that struggle with finances, right, imagine yourself, what would that look like if you had everything that you wanted financially. Okay, feel that energy that you want to feel, right? So if that makes you feel confident, feel confident. If that makes you feel, I don't know, like anything that it makes you feel like, when you have a lot of money, like, you go to the store, you just spend what you want. Is that what you need to do when you go out the store, and not maybe look at the prices so much? Not saying you should just go crazy, but right, and within your means, but still, like, not like, oh my gosh, I just spent $20 on this thing. Like, just being thankful. I am secure. More money is coming to me. Everything is okay. I'm grounded. I'm good. Okay, things of that nature. All right, so other ways, being paying attention to yourself is another way to open this chakra. We have become so desensitized to our bodies and our energies and the way that we respond to things, physiologic physically, that we don't really recognize when there are changes in our emotional system. So if you know that you're about to spend some money on something and it's causing some anxiety, or maybe you feel kind of antsy, maybe you feel kind of sad or upset, like any changes that you notice, be aware of that and mark that. So when you feel that, it's not you. Okay, remember, these emotions and feelings, they are not you, but they are guiders. They're sign they're pointers to the fact that you are attaching to some type of identity or mindset that is not allowing you to be fully who you are. Okay, it's a sign that you're being resistant to something. So be aware, be patient, be compassionate with yourself. Like I said, this is not gonna open and activate overnight unless you're someone who can detach like that. And but most of us, we're super attached to our identities and to our ego, so it doesn't work like that. So just be patient with yourself, be understanding, relax, and the biggest thing, be aware. Be aware of your energy. And like I said earlier, don't put any expectations on how long this will take. You can have these things rotations, even with working and opening all the other chakras every week. You change it up and just keep going. Just take it, do it the way that makes sense for you and that aligns with who you are. Okay. And some other ways, so pranayama is breathing techniques that you can use. You can look up the word pranayama root chakra on YouTube, on Google, social media, TikTok, whatever. It's gonna pull up ways that you can breathe to activate your root chakra, right? To get that breath, expand that breath completely through your body. Because I don't know if you guys know this, but most people are not breathing correctly. So when we breathe, we don't expand and push our breath throughout our body like we should, which is how the way that we kind of move the body through all our cells. Most of us don't know how to do that. It's very life changing, and it's super interesting to really open yourself up and breathe. It can be challenging, but it's definitely worth it. Okay? So I'm not gonna talk about this because I wrote this down. This is more like advanced stuff and whatever. We're not doing that. But yes. So pranayama, prana means breath, yama means control. Okay. So pranayama is meant to be done before a meditation. So if you say, hey, I want to work on my root chakra today, I want to do pranayama, I want to do meditation, and I want to do some yoga. Okay. So you can do that. Pranayama helps you open that energy up, making space in your body for that. So, yeah. I think that I've covered everything. It seems to be that way. The root chakra is, once it's not, none of this is hard, right? It's a matter of practice. So just make sure that you practice, make sure that you give yourself grace. Become aware of any sensitivities, any anxiety, any place that you feel like you are surviving and not thriving. Any places that you feel insecure, they're usually always associated with the root chakra. Okay, it's not you. It's your ego. It's even your mindset plan, or you affirming thoughts in your mind that are aligning with your ego, but it's not you. There, you can change and turn this stuff around just by detaching from mindsets and ways of being that constantly keep you looped into a reality because your root chakra is blocked. Okay? So good luck, and I wish you the best, and I hope that this information is it's helpful for you. You don't have to do everything that I said. Just try a few of the things and see how it makes you feel, and just go from there. Just start. Just remain teachable, remain open. Okay? Thank you so much for coming here and allow me to share space with you at Here We Grow. We are growing and evolving one day at a time, one step at a time, and one moment at a time. see you guys next week, and we will be talking about the sacral chakra. Okay? See you then. Bye.